All right, welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to look at a stock that honestly looks perfect on paper. I mean, it's ticking all the right boxes. It looks like a huge bargain. But here's the thing. When we put on our Peter Lynch glasses, well, a totally different and way more dangerous picture starts to come into focus.
Okay, let's get right into it. The whole story really starts with this one number, 0.54. Now, on its own, that number, it's the kind of thing that makes an investor's eyes light up, you know? It almost screams, buy me now.
So what is this number? It's the PEG ratio for SanDisk. That's ticker SNDK. You know, one of the big dogs in computer memory. And just so we're all on the same page, a PEG ratio under 1.0 is usually considered a really good sign that a stock is undervalued. So a number like this low, I mean, that's not just a good sign, that's like a flashing neon buy sign. The big question, though, is it really the deal of a lifetime?
So to get why this stock looks like such a home run, let's just quickly break down what this metric is all about. And why it gets Wall Street so fired up.
Yeah, the PEG ratio, this was actually made famous by Peter Lynch himself. He had a simple goal, right? Find awesome companies that are growing like crazy, but don't pay a fortune for them. It's that classic growth at a reasonable price idea. And if you just look at the formula, man, SNDK looks like the absolute definition of a bargain.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, here's the big twist. The guy who literally popularized this formula, the investor who used it to make legendary amounts of money, he would almost certainly look at SNDK today and just walk right on by.
And why he would do that? Well, that gets to the absolute core of his whole investing philosophy. See, for him, it was never just about the math. It was about the context. So let's dig into his thinking, and we'll start with his first big warning about companies that look exactly like this.
Okay, so the first red flag for Lynch has nothing to do with AI or fancy growth projections. Nope. It's all about the kind of business SNDK actually is. And for him, once you slap this label on a company, all the normal rules of value investing, they just go right out the window.
Now, this piece of advice it's totally backwards from what pretty much every investing book tells you, right? We're all taught, buy cheap stocks, look for a low PE. But Lynch says, for this kind of company, that's a one-way ticket to losing money. It's a recipe for disaster.
And make no mistake, Lynch would take one look at SanDisk, a memory and NAND flash maker, and immediately say, yep, that's a cyclical. It's a textbook example. Their profits are completely chained to these huge boom and bust cycles in the hardware world. I mean, when things are good, they are really good. But when they're bad, they're just awful. And this is where you can really see the trap. That super low PE, it's not a bargain signal. It's actually a warning flare, telling you that earnings are at their absolute peak. Right now, you've got this AI super cycle, and analysts are forecasting these gigantic profits. That makes the E and the PE ratio huge, which of course makes the whole ratio look dirt cheap. And remember, that low PE is what makes the PEG ratio look so good. But Lynch's whole point was that for a cyclical company, peak earnings almost always means peak stock price. There's only one way to go from the top, and that's down, as soon as that cycle turns.
Okay, so rule number 1 was all about the kind of business it is, the industry structure. Rule number 2? Well, this one is all about psychology. It's about not getting sucked into the hype, into a story that just sounds a little too perfect. And oh boy, does SanDisk fit that bill right now.
This is probably one of his most famous warnings ever. He always said that by the time a stock is the talk of the town, when it's all over the news and everyone at the barbecue is talking about it, the easy money's gone, the party's almost over, and the risk has just shot through the roof.
Sound familiar at all? I mean, come on, SNDK checks every single box here. It is ground zero for the AI storage story. The stock's gone on an absolutely insane run, up over 1,200%. You literally can't escape it on financial TV. For Peter Lynch, these aren't selling points. These are giant, flashing danger, red flags telling him to run the other way.
Okay, so let's put it all together. You take these two massive rules from Lynch and you apply them to SNDK. Suddenly the whole story flips. It goes from being this can't-miss opportunity to a can't-miss trap. And this table just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have the common interpretation. Wow, low PEG, this AI thing is the future. I gotta get in. But then you have the Lynch interpretation. Whoa, hold on, that's a value trap because earnings are at a peak and this hype is a huge red flag. What look like buy signals to most people are actually giant sell signals for him.
So what does this all mean? It means that crucial idea of a margin of safety, buying $1 for 50 cents, it just vanishes. It's gone. At this point in the cycle, you're not buying a bargain,
You're doing the opposite. You're paying top dollar for earnings that probably can't get any better, which means your downside risk is just massive.
So if he wouldn't buy now, when would he have been interested? Probably back when the company was getting hammered, when it was losing money hand over fist. A time when the PE ratio was insanely high, or maybe even negative because the earnings were just in the gutter. He'd get interested when everyone else has written the industry off for dead, not when it's on the cover of every magazine.
You know, looking at SNDK through this lens is such a great reminder that just plugging numbers into a formula isn't enough, not even close. The context, the type of business it is, the story that everyone's telling, that stuff is often way more important than the numbers on the screen. And it really leaves you with a big question, right? What else is out there, in your own portfolio or on your watch list, that looks cheap, but is really just a well-disguised trap?